Hey there, it's Laura here of makingcardsissun.com and welcome to another Saturday STEM Day carding video. In today's video, I'm going to be making a really cute and colorful sequin shaker card featuring the brand new Magical Unicorns stamp and die cut set from My Favorite Things. So I'm starting out with one of the unicorns and I'm stamping that image with some Magenta Tuxedo black ink onto some Simon's Stamp Ultra Heavyweight white cardstock. This is my favorite cardstock for Copic coloring. I am using the E51 marker to add a little bit of color to those hoofs. And this is the lightest color, so this is my first layer. And then I am using E53 to add a little bit of shading here and there. I also blended that out with the E51 again, by the way. Then I'm adding some NO around the edges of my unicorn because I wanted a white unicorn, but I did want a little bit of shading. So I blended that out with the colorless blender and then it just looked like a tiny bit of shading. So it's still a white unicorn, but the light gray edge is just some shading. Next, I am using E51 again, and then I'm blending that out with the E53. No, sorry, I added the E53 to add some shading, and then I am blending that out with the E51 again, which was my lightest color. Then I'm going to color the unicorn's hair. This was my favorite part, and I decided to work with some colors that I really love. So I am using RV02, and then I am coloring a mintish piece with BG11, and these are my two favorite Copic markers. Then I added a little bit of blush to those cheeks with the R11 Copic marker, and I blended that out with the colorless blender because that color was just a little bit too intense to me. Then I'm coloring the unicorn's tail with RV02, and then I'm using Y02 for that yellow color. And then finally, I am adding a little bit of orange with YR15. After I colored that adorable unicorn, I die cut a cloud using the End of the Rainbow die cut set from My Favorite Things. And I am going to add a little bit of blue on that cloud using some Tumbled Glass Distress ink. So I'm using the mini distress inks, and then I'm also using the mini ink blender since these are just really easy to work with and they're also easy to store. I am using that, or I used that same stamp set to stamp a rainbow and those little clouds, and I'm coloring all of the arches. So I used RV0000 to add my first layer, and then I added some RV02 to add the shading, and then I used that lightest color again to blend that out. Then for the aqua arch, I am using BG11 first. This is my favorite Copic marker, by the way. And then I added a little bit of shading using that BG32 marker, and I didn't blend that out, by the way. Then I am using BV0000 for the purple arch, and I am adding the shading with the BV00 marker. So these are some new Copic markers that I got because I just really needed a light purple, and I really like how these two colors look like together. Then I'm adding a little bit of shading to those clouds with the BG10 marker, and then I'm finished with all of my Copic coloring for today. I thought that a sequin shaker would look really well with today's unicorn, so I cut a We Are Memory Keepers photo sleeve apart, and then I filled that up with some sequins that were still on my desk because I created a sequin shaker in last week's video too. And I still had some leftover sequins, so I used them for today's shaker. Wow, that was really hard. So I'm going to fuse those two lines. I'm going to fuse my pocket, and I let my fuse tool heat up for about 6 minutes or so. And then now I'm using the ruler to make sure that these lines are completely straight. So there's my little sequin shaker. I really like how easy and how fast it is to make a sequin shaker with the fuse tool. So I'm adding some adhesive on the back of my main panel of my card with my ATG by Scotch, and then I'm also putting a little bit of adhesive on the back of my sequin shaker, and then I just adhered that down. Then I'm stamping a sentiment from the Magical Unicorn stamp set from My Favorite Things with some Versamark ink, and I'm going to sprinkle on some Long Island Teal embossing powder from Wow. This is a gorgeous aqua color embossing powder, and it has some gold glitter in there, which is simply gorgeous. So I'm heat setting my embossing powder, and then my sentiment is completely finished. So we're almost there. Now it's time to finish off this card. I am adhering some pattern paper from the Everyday Collection 6x6 paper pads from Avery L onto a white note card. And then I'm going to adhere that main piece of my card onto that pattern paper with my foam adhesive. And I adhered the cloud and the unicorn with some foam adhesive as well. And now I'm doing the same for that rainbow and those two little clouds. So there we go. And then finally, I am adding a little bit of sparkle with my clear Wink of Stella glitter pen. This is just a really easy way to add a little bit of sparkle to your card, since it doesn't need to dry at all. And of course, I'm also adding some sequins here and there on my cards. I only used 3 sequins today. You know, since I already have a sequins shaker cards, I didn't go overboard this time. And then last but not least, I'm adding a little bit of glossy accents here and there to really make this unicorn pop. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to visit my blog to check out the winner of the mini Misti giveaway from last week. And I will see you very soon. Bye bye!